Thanks everyone for being here today. Very exciting weekend for us as we get to bring on another next start in the Sydney Kings, Alex Tui, someone who's very well known in Australian basketball circles. Great career ahead of him, and someone that we've been really excited about and trying to get in our program for some time. So thrilled to be able to bring someone of his caliber along for the ride and us to be part of his journey. We really feel it's a great program to help him achieve his goals and NBA ambitions, and for us surrounding him with the types of players that we have in our program, the coaches, Mahmood, his style of play, Luke, Andrew, everyone who's kind of been through that program is really important to us, and his family as well has really embraced the relationship that I think we crafted a couple of months ago. So me, Kat, Alex, and the entire Tui family, we're just thrilled to have part of this group and keen to get going for next year. So thanks everyone for coming, and we'll take some questions. I'll take some and can pass over to Alex too and go from there.
Chris, can you talk us through the process on how this got done? Because it seems like almost out of nowhere.
You'd think it was out of nowhere, but this started months ago. The NBL Next Stars program led by Liam Santamaria and Jeremy Lowliga, they're putting really high profile names in front of teams to be able to consider, and Alex's name that came up, midway through last season, and we brought him down to Sydney. We had him at some games and worked with his family and talked with them, but also just had a look at him on the court, and it's someone who we were super excited about then. And for this to be able to happen, yes, while it happened quickly last week, it's something that we never stopped considering or thinking about and wanting to bring him in. So it's funny, it's sliding doors, and timing's everything. We announced a coach and just being able for Mahmood to be able to express how he likes to play and how it could work with Alex and his skill set, but also his ambitions and Mahmood's relationships and connections to the NBA too. I think it just made sense. So timing's everything, and it worked in our favour.
How high do you see Alex's ceiling at this point?
I mean, it's hard to say, to be honest. It's super high. Whether he's with us for 1 year, which I'd love to think it was longer, but if it's 1 year and he's a lottery pick, if it's 2 years, he's an NBA player. Whether it's in 12 months or 24 months, it's without question. So he's got an unbelievable career ahead of him. His ceiling, both in the NBL but in the NBA, is super high. And the feedback I've got recently, just even since announcing from NBA teams, they're just excited to come down and see him in Sydney. It's quite remarkable.
Last one for you. Based on his skill set, his size, his positional versatility, where do you see him? Where do you envision him playing on the court and in the rotation, which is really talented but also really deep?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because luckily the way Mahmood likes to play, he talked to Alex about, he plays with a lot of freedom. We've got guys on our team and players who can play multiple different positions, whether it's, they can handle the ball, and the one thing I think that we liked about Alex is, I think if he's going to make the jump to the NBA, I see him as an NBA 3. He's been able to be, when you weren't 6'8", when you're being able to handle the ball. I mean, he's played a guard in lower grades, and he can play a 4-man because he's bigger than most bodies. But I think for him to get to that level, it's probably seeing him slot into an NBL 3. But flexibility, I think positions and setting someone and just locking them into one specific role restricts their growth. So for him, if he's playing majority of his minutes at the 3, spot minutes at the 4, sometimes he's handling the ball at the 2 in bigger lineups. That's the thing that's most exciting about Alex, is his versatility, and it's an overused word. It's cliche to say he's versatile, but it's true, right? Handle the ball, he can shoot, he can rebound, and one of the things Mahmood likes is players who can come in and rebound the ball, offensive rebounds, but defensively too, and that's something that we think can help Alex make that jump, is his ability to play both sides of the ball, and really showcase his skill defensively, but offensively he's free to do what he wants.
Alex, can you talk us through the process of not just decommitting from Gonzaga and obviously putting that opportunity to one side and joining the Sydney Kings and making the decision to make that jump and join this program?
Yeah, so obviously committed to Gonzaga, then kind of reflected and just thought that the Next Stars program and being a part of the Sydney Kings would be the best for my development. Obviously having players in the team that have been to where I'm trying to get, and having staff and administration like Luke Longley, Andrew Bogut, guys like that can mentor me and help me get to where I'm trying to go.
What would your conversations like with Mahmood about, where you could potentially end up, your development and things like that? How have those conversations been so far?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Mahmood's a very energetic guy, as I'm sure everyone's going to realise. So I've been able to talk to him about how I like to play, how he likes to play, and how we're kind of going to go out there and play our own styles, but bring it together for Sydney and try and win as many games as we can.
So you've been playing NBL 1 basketball for a little bit now. How much do you think that has prepared you to step in and play professional basketball right away?
Yeah, being at the Centre of Excellence, being able to play NBL 1, being young, 17, 18, playing against grown men, it's definitely helped my career a lot. Being able to play against that high level of physicality, players that are a bit bigger, a bit faster, being able to find different ways where I can get my shots off, different advantages and stuff like that.
So what do you think you need to work on going forward? I know you're going to LA soon to work out. What do you need to do with your game in order to be better prepared for next season?
Yeah, like Chris said, I think I've played a lot of different positions growing up. I think now it's kind of working on my guard skills, being able to be a bigger guard in the league. You can call it a three-man, but being able to bring the ball up, shoot the ball, put on the dribble, just being able to play multiple positions. And I think big thing for me is just working on using my dribble to get my shot off and playing against faster defenders, guarding faster players, just all those kind of things that I'm really trying to nail down on.
So a lot of the talk is going to be about your development and your ceiling and things like that, but you're also joining a team that has won back-to-back titles. There's a hunt for a three-peat. How excited are you to come in and be part of the competitive team and actually contribute, not just as a young guy who can develop, but as someone who can contribute now to winning?
No, super excited. I think the Centre of Excellence in the NBL 1 East has been having a good season, and it's always much more fun when the team's winning, so I'm going to definitely try everything I can to help that legacy continue.
Mel, do you want to shoot some questions?
Yes, please. Hi, Chris. Hi, Alex. Chris, this one's for you. So what was the sort of time process that you managed to put this all together to snag Alex from Gonzaga?
Good question. Again, as I mentioned earlier, it started months ago, but more recently, reconnected last week. And so it moved quite quick, and it was just perfect timing with the signing of an announcement of our new head coach and involving him in that process. So it's timing's everything in this business, and it really worked.
And I guess this is a great endorsement for the NBL Next Stars program. And do you think it potentially also sets a bit of a precedent that guys who have committed to college, now that's not exactly written in stone, potentially there's a great opportunity for a few more guys who are thinking of college to instead stay local and go into the NBL?
For sure. I mean, college is a great path, but it's each individual to their own, and their circumstances change. I mean, the college landscape's changed with the transfer portal, NIL money. It's from where it was 5 years ago, it's a completely different landscape. So, all of that plays into it, and I think the biggest focus is Alex just made a choice of what's best for his long-term career, and we feel it's best for us, and we're just excited to be able to have those conversations. But to be the next Australian next star to follow on from Josh Giddey, I mean, look where he is now, and his production from when he first entered the NBL to what he's doing in the NBA now. I think we can, if we can put Alex on a similar pathway and journey to that, I mean, that's the success story you want to live by.
Yeah, nice. And Alex is pretty well known in Canberra. He's a local here, and he's been playing basketball in the area for some time. Will there be any sort of thing that the Kings are trying to put together to encourage Canberrans to get behind the Kings? Any sort of cross-territory New South Wales type things you're going to put in place?
I'd love to. We've talked about doing a pre-season roadshow, trying to get our players in different parts of New South Wales to kind of foster, obviously, great excitement around basketball in general in the state. But if we can sway some Canberra fans to be Kings fans rather than Illawarra Hawks fans, I think that's probably our first point of call. But yes, keen to do some more work down in Canberra and have. And while you say Alex is a fan favourite down there, I think across New South Wales and Australia and his name just broadly in basketball circles and Basketball Australia, it's important to note that I think there's going to be a lot of fans just outside of Canberra, but we know there's a lot down there. So if we can involve them any way we can, we will.
Yeah, awesome. Alex, this one's for you, mate. Now that you've kind of got, I believe you might have a jersey in your hand now or soon, you've got the jersey colours with you, and what is it like to just make it all feel really, this is real and this is happening and this is your future?
Yeah, no, it feels super surreal. Kind of always dreamed about being a professional basketball player, and I think a few years ago I was sitting in class and Mum was kind of forcing me to study. Wasn't sure if basketball was going to take me anywhere. Now to be a professional basketball player, a part of the Next Stars program in the Sydney Kings, it's really exciting.
And what were your sort of memories, I guess? Did you have many of watching the Kings growing up or anything like that?
Yeah, obviously Canberra didn't have an NBL team, so was always following the Kings and seeing how they used to go, and their legacy and tradition of winning is something that I always love seeing, and to be part of it now is something I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, nice. I think you mentioned that you might have had a few conversations with Josh Giddey and his decision going to Adelaide and then obviously going through to the NBA. Can you go into more detail about what those conversations are like that swayed you to not go down the college route?
Yeah, talking to Giddey was really cool, and just hearing how his opinion and how he felt in the Next Stars program and how much he enjoyed that and how much it benefited his career. So being able to hear that and kind of thinking about myself in that position, deciding to go to the Next Stars for my development on and off the court is something that I think is the right decision.
Yeah, nice. Last one, not going down the college route, no March Madness, no anything like that. Do you feel like you'll miss anything?
I think you'd be surprised how much the NBL is growing and how many fans get to games and what the atmosphere is like there. So I think I'm just really looking forward to the NBL season coming up.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
The entire situation of locking Alex in over the past year, I guess, up until last week when things started to get really serious. Can you talk us through the process?
Well, it's been a long process to get to this point. We first started engaging with Alex and his family about the potential to come to the Next Stars program and begin his pro journey in the NBL last year. Those conversations were extensive at that point before he'd made decisions on his future. As Chris spoke about earlier, he had conversations at that point and experiences with a number of teams, the Kings and others around the league. And then after he made his decision to commit to Gonzaga in November last year, we just stayed in communication. The league, the Next Stars program, myself, Alex and the family, really just as a support system to offer our best wishes and to let them know that the Next Stars program is here. It's here for Alex if circumstances change, if his feelings change, this year, maybe in the future at some stage. And then, as you mentioned, things kind of changed in that direction very quickly last week. And so we ramped up conversations from there. And at that point, the wheels turned very quickly. And he kind of reflected on his experiences with some of those teams. And of course, the Sydney Kings were at the top of his list. And here we are. He's going to be a Next Star in the purple and gold.
Now, I know you don't want to play favourites. You have a wide array of Next Stars this season from all across the globe. This is the first Australian one since Josh Giddey. Is there something special about making sure that there is an Australian that is part of that global contingent of Next Stars?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's really exciting from our perspective. It's also, for me, a really important part of the program. I think the fact that, Josh sort of waves the flag for Australians in the NBA and particularly the Next Stars program, I think is huge for our league. And I think moving forward, you think about the Next Stars program and its growth, we want to be a pathway for Australians, New Zealanders, Europeans, Americans, really everyone from around the globe. And having one of the brightest young talents in Australian basketball choose this pathway, put his faith in the Sydney Kings and their support structures for his development, I think is huge for the program.
Could you talk us through a little bit in the background on how a Next Star qualifies, in the sense of how good does a player have to be? Are there players who are not good enough, and who comes together to make that decision on, who can qualify to be part of this program? Because I know there is a high bar.
Well, I mean, essentially, the Next Stars program is for players who are draft eligible, first and foremost, and who and when I say we, Jeremy Lowliger and myself, who run the program, we feel like are genuine NBA prospects. And certainly every one of the next stars that we've got in place for this season fit into those categories. And Alex is certainly no exception to that rule. Everyone's journey is different. Some players are going to come into the program and spend 1 year and they're going to bounce straight to the draft. Others are going to take multiple years before they get to that point. Others might turn this way and that. You see Mojave King and his development through the Next Stars program, a year at G League Ignite, and then he's a second round draft pick. So they're the sort of the nuts and bolts of the program. There's also, as you know, another element within the program of players that are eligible who are draft and stash candidates. But essentially, the bottom line is the Next Stars program is for young NBA prospects who are draft eligible and we feel have an NBA career ahead of them.
There's a lot of Next Stars already. Are you expecting more?
I hope so. There are some teams, not many, but there are some teams around the NBL who don't have a Next Star locked in for the upcoming season. So as long as that's the case and their coach or GM ownership group are keen to explore that potential, Jeremy and I are going to work hard to help them find a good match. So we've got a really exciting group, 6 really exciting players right around the league from different parts of the world, but hopefully 1 or 2 more watch this space.
Last one from me. What's it like for you personally and for Jeremy personally when the Next Star says yes? Because I know there are some who are sort of teetering and then they go a different direction. Someone like Alex committed to Gonzaga and then changed his mind. What's the feeling like when you get a signature on the dotted line?
Well, it's really exciting, first and foremost, because I would say often these Next Star recruiting processes are pretty lengthy. So as I said, in Alex's case, we started communicating with him last year. He was the MVP of the under-20 national championships last year as a bottom-age guy. He really played well at the NBA Academy Games in Atlanta last year. We ramped up our conversations from there, and that was kind of 9-10 months ago. And then here we are this week. And, it's been pretty lengthy in those other instances as well with our Next Stars group. So it's exciting when it happens. You feel great for the program. I feel great in those situations for the player because I often think that, we've found them a great situation for them to launch their career. And I feel excited for the club and their fans because what we've got in place this year with the Next Stars is coaches and clubs that are really excited to have those guys on their teams, and so I think that makes everybody feel pretty good heading towards the start of the season.
Melanie, you're up.
Yep. Hey Liam, look, how much of a coup is this for the NBL? Not just to snag a talented guy like Alex, but to snag a guy who had committed to a pretty big college program.
Yeah, I think the key fact for us is that Alex is a really exciting young Aussie prospect. His decision-making process over the course of the last 6-9 months has been unique to him, like every player's journey is unique to them. But I think the most important thing for us is he's a really exciting Aussie prospect. He's undergone a huge amount of development in Canberra, at the NBA Global Academy under Marty Clark and at the Centre of Excellence under Robbie McKinlay and their outstanding group of coaches. And the fact that, one of the elite talents out of that program, following in the footsteps of Josh Giddey, has decided to put his trust in the Next Stars program and the Sydney Kings, that's the part that excites me the most.
You're obviously very persuasive, Liam, when you want to be. What do you think it was that finally got Alex to make the call? What do you think was the real, the silver bullet that made him leave college for this?
Oh, it's a good question. It's probably one best placed to Alex, to be honest. I think that the key element here was what he saw in the Sydney Kings. They've built a program here that has become a lead in the area of player development. They've sent players to the NBA from the purple and gold in the last few years. Jayshawn Tate, Didi Luzada, of course Xavier Cooks is the most recent example of that. And they've done a great job here in Sydney of positioning themselves as a club that can get that done. They can help you improve your game and they can give you NBA opportunities. Jalen Galloway is going to be playing at the Summer League in a couple of weeks' time. So I think what was on offer A, within the Next Stars program and the league as a whole, joining a really exciting cohort of Next Stars, but B, and probably most importantly, what the Kings brought to the table.
And just like for, you know, the talents coming out of the NBA Global Academy, as you mentioned, are you already in conversations with some guys there at the moment? And hopefully there'll be some of the next guys that come through this Next Star program.
Yeah, we've been following those guys closely. Of course, you know, there's talent right across the globe, right across Australia, but a lot of it in Australia has been identified over the course of their journey through the basketball pathways, and those elite players a lot of the time right now are in Canberra and they're training with the Centre of Excellence in the Global Academy. So we've been tracking those guys, we've been watching them for a period of time as they've grown their games, and for some of them the Next Stars pathway might be the right choice for them. It's not going to be the right choice for everyone, but because it's you're going to be playing in a pro league against big, strong, grown men, and you need to be able to kind of develop well within that environment. So it may not be for everyone, but for those whom we think could be a good match, we're following their progress closely, and for some we're already or we will be in conversation.
Thanks, Liam.
Cheers.